with Shields. Did it delay your training at all? How long were you away from the ring? Just tell us about that, going through that illness.
Yeah, I had an inflammation in my stomach, so my doctor don't allow me to fight till December. So 2 months I can't train very well, and so now I try my best to be faster in the ring and to be prepared for the next fight. So I do my best for it because I want to fight.
Was that the longest span of time you kind of stayed away from the sport?
I never stay away from the sport. I'm always like do something, and if that's normal, that's my job to keep myself in shape best as I can.
Your English is great, by the way. Do you think that that's going to help you grow a fan base here in the United States?
Again, sorry?
Your English is great. Do you think that's going to help you grow a fan base in the United States?
I think my English is not so great.
No,
You want to ask her a question in German or Russian, she can answer it also.
Your Spanish is better. I like your Spanish.
Yeah, very good. So I like the support in America because female boxing is here growing and growing, and that makes me happy when the people come to me and say, "Oh, Lady Hammer, can we take a picture?" and so something like this. It's great.
Christina, okay, everyone knows that's the most anticipated fight between you and Clarissa Shields, but what does it mean to you and how bad do you want it?
It means a lot because every boxer needs a big fight, like one champion against another champion. And I won this fight because that's history and never some fight is happening before. And I won this fight because I want to be the undisputed champion.
Are you going to have your training camp here in the United States, or are you going to train back home in Germany?
I train a lot of time in Germany and prepare for all my fights there. But maybe we can handle some training camp in Los Angeles or in America. Why not?
Do you like it here?
Yes, it's nice. The weather is good, perfect. I can't wait.
She probably do most of her preparation over there in Germany with her coach. Her coach is from Ukraine, so her coach has a lot of, I mean, you see the Ukrainian boxing system now with Usyk and Lomachenko and Nail. But if she fights over here, she hasn't decided 100%, but if she fights here, she'd probably have maybe the last 2 weeks of her training camp to get adjusted to the time zone and also to do some publicity for the fight.
If you had a choice of venue here in the U.S., what would be your preference? Like if you had a choice, California, maybe at the Stables, or
where would you want
in Masquerade Garden or somewhere like that? Do you have a
Oh,
preference?
California is very great. I like it. So why not?
I think
It's
it
my
doesn't
first
matter.
time, but maybe not the last time.
You expect to go into the ring, assuming Shields wins tonight? Do you want to go in the ring and confront her again?
No, I don't go in the ring because in German there's one sentence, since which time comes the bone to the dog? You know? There's one sentence in German.
Can you say it in German?
You understand German?
No, but you can. You just
I'll
told me what it was.
Yeah, I'll translate.
Seit wann kommt der Knochen zum Hund?
So to translate that or to expand on that is like, when do you bring the reward to the dog, for example? Not in the literal sense, but like, if she's a champion, she doesn't have to go in the ring. And just to expand on the fight with Clarissa, I mean, Clarissa's on a tremendous trajectory where she's at, not only her amateur experience with her gold medals, but look, with 7 fights now, she fought on Showtime, then she was on DAZN, and now she's on HBO. So she's getting a lot of television attention, and having 2.5 or 3 of the world titles and being on track to be undisputed, Clarissa has a tremendous success so far in her career. Christina feels, with her titles and her experience as a professional, and look how she's 5'11", much bigger than what Clarissa is. So she'll use her experience, her ring IQ and strategy to try to beat and outbox Clarissa to become the undisputed champion. These are the fights. A lot of times with men boxing, the champions won't fight each other. I mean, we see perfect examples of the heavyweight division, and for there to be an undisputed champion in female boxing. This will definitely be one of the biggest fights ever. Female boxing, two champions fighting each other in their primes, and with the television exposure that Clarissa's getting, and all the exposure that Christina has, it'll be a tremendous fight.
How did she feel about this being HBO's final show and all that, being a part of the environment? How did she take it? I would imagine she would have liked to fight on HBO at some point in her career, but obviously that's not going to happen. But how did she take it? I would imagine she would have liked to fight on HBO at some point in her career, but obviously that's not going to happen. But how are you taking that? HBO's final show.
HBO's.
Was you the question? Or for
Yeah,
me?
for you, for you. I was looking at Tom, but it's for you.
Usually people like to look at her. So how do you feel being at HBO's last show live here with the atmosphere?
So it's a little bit sad that HBO it's the last show. So, but it's great to see that HBO do it on the female boxing event and show us Cecilia Break, who's an undisputed champion, on this last show.
Was it a dream of yours to fight, as a young girl, to fight on HBO? Was that a dream of
Sure,
yours?
I think every boxer, it's a dream from everyone.
Male or female? Yeah, 100%.
Are there many young girls from your country that look up to you and want to be like you?
I hope so.
And who did you look up to as role models in boxing? Men and women?
Most of the time I look up to men because I'm not that skinny or a small woman. So men in this division are very tough, like Triple G. And yeah, I like male boxing very much. Tonight is also Lomachenko is fighting, and I like his style so he's very quick and fast.
And when you were younger, who did you watch growing up?
I remember that I love Mike Tyson. He was very dramatic and amazing knockouts, and that is so fascinating.
Can jumping boxing for women return to the heights as it was when Regina Halleck and Daisy Lamb were fighting? Can it reach that level again?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it far away, or is it still
No, it's not far away.
$1 million paydays?
With the right television exposure, David, you know, Regina Hamlick, she was fighting on network television, so that's why she became so popular. She was on talk shows, really had a lot of mainstream media. And like we're seeing now with the television exposure for the female boxers, it just takes a little bit of publicity, and the talent is there, and then they'll return. I mean, that was kind of a special time, but Regina was very unique because she did have this mainstream support in the media. But I think with the right talent like Christina, let's say, for example, let's say if Christina comes over here to fight in the United States, anything that happens here, like we see this with Cecilia. Cecilia would sell out 10,000 seat arenas in Norway. But when she fights over here, or Triple G is another perfect example. When they fight over here, when Triple G fights in Madison Square Garden and fills it up, it's front page news in Kazakhstan. When Cecilia fights in over here in Norway, it's front page news. And then the same thing will be if Christina fights over here and wins the undisputed championship. That'll be huge news in Germany. That'll really elevate her profile, because everything that happens here gets reported back in their home countries, and
It's
definitely
even bigger.
yeah, it's even bigger.
Of all the careers that you could have chosen, you chose boxing. You ever thought about being a model?
Yeah, I do this kind of modeling, and I'm a few times do like a lingerie model and an actor for sports bras and something like this. Yeah.
She's modeling and boxing, Muhammad. If you follow her Instagram,
You can check everything.
You can check it out.
Speaking on that, Clarissa was very vocal online about you doing modeling, and she was kind of criticizing you on it. Do you feel she maybe underestimates you, because to her maybe she feels you don't focus solely on boxing and you're out here having other, experiences with modeling and outside the sport?
So I'm always focused on boxing because that's my job and that's my passion, and I think I'm blessed that I can do modeling and boxing. Not everybody can do it, and it's not for everyone.
What message would you give the young girls trying to break into boxing today?
So I think young girls have to believe in yourself. Don't be shy to go in the boxing gym. It makes you feel confident, and you feel much better when you can fight for yourself. And yeah, training boxing is the best workout.
You turned pro when you were 18. You won your first title at 20. How much longer do you plan on boxing? Do you see yourself still boxing for quite a
That's
time?
a good question. I think maybe 30, 31. But first step and first goal, it's undisputed champion.